TMNT time! Yes, that's right. We are back in business. Can I hear a like for the return of TMNT Toy Throwback? But you see, it will not be the return of the TMNT Toy Throwback. I, Orokusaki, leader of the Foot Clan, am now in charge of this pathetic show. Last time, I have shown you my original forms, the Shredder in all of its glory. But there is one more, far more furious, far more stronger, and far more vicious. It is the story of the Super Shredder. Well, okay then, thank you for that, Shredder, and totally not me. I did change location because the audio out there is absolutely awful and I don't want to piss off my neighbors. Starting off this trip down memory lane with the original 1991 Super Shredder. Based on the only second movie of the TMNT, which came out in the same year, Secret of Use, and portrayed by none other than Kevin Nash. Because wrestling references, I love it. First thing you will notice about this guy though is his size. The Super Shredder in the movie was towering over the turtles, like 2 heads taller as he gripped onto the dog all in darkness. But that toy he's barely any taller than Leonardo over here, like oh my god. It's an absolute complete mess, but it's a mess I like. It's the classic Playmate stuff of just like, let's put everything on there. The exaggeration of the spikes, the big head, and just, it has a charm to it. Alright, so he's not a towering behemoth, but what about the look overall? Not too bad. I mean, considering it is a kid's toy, I'm really impressed with the amount of detail and the plastic and the paint job in general. Look at all the detail in the back of the head. Like all these tiny little spots in the helmet. Yes, that is painted on a kid's toy. I've seen worse paint job on what's supposed to be high-end collector's figures. Even the line work in the body and the legs, it looks clean, it doesn't have any bleeding, it doesn't go all over the place, so I'm really happy with that, to be honest. He's also suffering from Playmates Shredder pose. You know what that means? Just like every Shredder from the original line kinda had this weird angled arm, the other arm straight up, and knees angled, so to make him look even smaller. You know, like this guy over here. Same thing. What's up with that? I guess kinda sorta to recreate the iconic pose from the comic book, where it has a showdown on top of the building against the turtles, and it's just kinda like, I'm here, I'm Shredder, blah 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 blah. I don't even know, that's not what he said. And he has basic Playmates articulation, swivels in the arm, ball jointed legs, and a swivel on the head. And actually, also one in the forearm, but none in the hands. And as far as accuracy goes, I guess it's fairly accurate. Of course it's not one-to-one, but then again, look back on the original movie. The entire shot of Shredder fighting the turtles under the dock was all so dimly lit, it was pretty dark, and it kinda added some mystique to it that we didn't really see what he looked like. And for that, I love it. Also, yes, before you yell at me in the comments, there was a Ravioli Chef Boyardee Super Shredder version, which was all black, which is very hard to find these days, very rare, very expensive, and not really worth it because it's the exact same figure in a different paint job. I know it's cool for collectors, but I don't care about Ravioli Shredder. Now, unfortunately, the 2003 show did not have a Super Shredder at all. Now, on one hand, it does make sense because 2003 was primarily based on the comic book, at the beginning at least, and the Super Shredder was purely a movie creation. It's still kind of weird to me considering that 2003 had like Tengu Shredder, Feudal Shredder, Cyber Shredder. There were so many Shredders, but also barely any figures anyway. Guess got nothing there. I guess that already brings me to 2012 Super Shredder. Now first and foremost, I did customize this guy a little bit. There's some paint on there that the original did not have because the original release was pretty laughable when it comes to paint. See if I can find a picture of it, I'll put it up over there. Now the main point with this Shredder is that he did not show up in any movie. He didn't actually show up in the show, which to my knowledge is the first time we got a version of Super Shredder that actually was part of the main cartoon. And while I prefer the old design, I gotta give him credit for this new beast. Because that's what it is, it's a beast, really bringing home the mutant part. And I mean, he does act all savage and whatnot in the shows, it does make sense, goes well with the design. So yeah, overall he does have a ridiculous cape which has a lot of detail in it, looks good. The face sculpt looks super menacing, but that was lacking most of the paint I put on there. I'm so talented. No, seriously, all you need for this is just a bit of Warhammer paint and a small brush, and there you go. This is not hard to do. And yeah, what I also added is a bunch of the green in the chest and put a little bit of veiny stuff going around on it to make it a little bit more brutal, I guess. And I mean, it's just the ooze going through his veins, and it gives him a really cool look. And that's not a very cool idea, like, it's kind of like the ooze going through his veins and it makes him all glowy. Missed opportunity for a glow-in-the-dark figure. His bulging muscles have like disgusting balls on there, like pox or whatever. And he has blades growing out from everywhere. Legs, knees, arms, what? I mean, who cares about leg day when you have blade day? Even growing out of his toes. Okay, that's kind of ridiculous though. I'm aware of the irony talking about ridiculousness when holding this in my hand. Also, this spiky thing was not assembled coming out of the box because that wouldn't have fit in the box, obviously. So I glued it in because it kept falling out. I mean, for those of you who have this figure are probably wondering, how has he handled this thing and this hasn't fallen out like 5 billion times? Aha. Super glue for Super Shredder. And yes, the articulation is also very basic. You got a hinge in the shoulder, swivel in the hand, swivel on the head, which does not go all the way around. Legs are not on ball joints actually, just pegged in, so it doesn't just move up and down. Same for the knees, they do have a hinge. And one more swivel in the chest area. Originality. Taking zero ideas from the original Super Shredder and creating their own little thing. Little is right, because this guy is also pretty small and cute. I mean, size-wise, I guess they tried because he's a little bit bigger than the Turtles, but not really. Which is unfortunate, because I remember the 2012 Playmates line, that was something that they would pride themselves on. Of like, we gonna respect all the different scales. All of the different Turtles have the different sizes, and they did that. But after that, they just kind of forgot about the whole scale thing. I mean, overall it's good. It's a new Super Shredder for a different generation, for a different cartoon show, a different idea. And it's still obviously true to the idea of Shredder just chugging some ooze and going, "Argh!" At least this time he doesn't have a dark collapse on him and he just dies, which is so lame. I don't usually do this because after all, this is TMNT Toy Throwback and not TMNT Toy fairly recent. But here's the NECA Super Shredder. What to say about this one? It is the perfect representation of Super Shredder. All the detail that was present in the original costume for the original movie worn by the original wrestler Kevin Nash. Listen, this thing is just amazing. Look at all the detail on it. Size-wise, he's amazing. He fits in with everything. But obviously, this is a collector's item. It was not intended as a kid's toy. If you give this to your kids, I mean, you can, but it's a NECA figure. They're just gonna break it. Funny thing is, like, I did tweet at NECA when they're gonna make Super Shredder. You know, when they were rolling out the arcade Turtles and doing the movie Turtles? Well, my bet was on an arcade Shredder, but they delivered the movie Shredder, which is still the exact same mold, so I would be very disappointed if they didn't just make a repaint of this and call it arcade Shredder, because that's what I also want. But yeah, other than that, this figure is amazing. This figure is perfect. Go out and get it. They also made a black repaint based on the Chef Boyardee version. And if you're thinking I'm cutting time short for this NECA Shredder, I did do a complete review on it. I did gush over it in my top 10. So I don't feel like talking much more over that. You can go watch those other videos up here or links in the description if you're interested. Very much appreciated. If you enjoy this type of content, leave a like and subscribe or be destroyed. So I've been Orokusaki, the 1-2 Shredder. Until next time, tune in for more figure views, card game stuff, and TMNT Toy